You ready? Here it comes. Here it comes, monkey butt. Here it comes. It's coming. It's about to pop up any second now. And nope, not yet. Well, we'll try it. We'll try to get there. It is. Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Do you have a problem? Episode number 740. That means tomorrow is episode number 741, which is, for some reason, a magic number for a lot of people. It's also day 27 of Shiny Shirt Week, the longest week of the year. We're doing a little Japanese Guy Fieri collection today to brighten your dreary December. So, it's only a few more days left of Shiny Shirt Week. I can't remember how many shirts. Maybe 5 or 6 more shirts. And then Shiny Shirt Week is finally over after 30-something days. Right off the bat, GameStop tweeted Houston, we have a problem. And tomorrow is episode number 741. Maybe Ryan Cohen's trying to apologize to me? I don't know. We will find out. GameStop stock itself did decent. It was green most of the day, and then towards the end just fizzled and dropped below yesterday's close, and I was an idiot, and at the right close, I bought 208 zero-day expiration options for tomorrow at $23.50 at 7 cents a share. So we'll see if that, it gets like $23.20, and I will double my money. I'll be cool. I'll be happy with that. I don't need for it to like go in the money. I don't give a shit. I'll sell by 9 a.m. and be out. What else is happening? Hey, fat guy, what's happening? You've been yelling all day long, and I don't know why. Pete Hegseth refused to turn over his phone to investigators on the Signal Gate thing. Remember when he was like sending top secret mission information to journalists by accident on Signal? And because he refused to turn it over, his assistant is like, see, he's clear. He did nothing wrong. And so he's all like, woo. Also in Pete Hegseth's Doom radar, Admiral Halsey, who resigned from the Southern Command, apparently got in an argument at the Pentagon with Hegseth when Hegseth was ordering him to blow up these boats. And he's like, no, I'm not going to spend 40 years in the Navy just to finish my career following an illegal order. You're not going to get me to do it. And Hegseth's like, whoa, we'll break you down a rank and whatever. And Halsey's like, I'm out. So word to the grapevine is that he reached out to Congress saying that he is willing to testify and he's got receipts that he refused the order and that he told Hegseth that it was an illegal order, and Hegseth did it anyway. So, we're the type of nation just out there committing war crimes. And anywho, is there anything else I want to add there, cat and dog? I don't know. So let's hit the show intro. And cat, don't you step on the keyboard. There we go. Okay, dictum intro number 2. How is this?
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ignore me all day long.
Houston, we have a problem.
Drugs, that's all I want. I want kitty drugs. Okay. Turn off the intro, cat. Don't you do it. Don't you dare knock the magnets off again. Cool. You know what I forgot to do yesterday? I forgot to look at the poll. We set up a poll, and I never looked at the results to see if you guys like the black one up here and the white one down here, or the white one up here and the black one down there. Because remember, we have this darkest night. Oh, there's a butthole. Creature, don't you do it. Don't you rub that off. So I guess I have to set up another poll. And actually look at the results this time. Someone remind me to look at the results. Okay. Start a poll. Black ad on top or not. Pink. Top. Bottom. Start poll. I will actually pay attention this time. Okay. And we'll see where it goes. All right. And now the chat. What do you guys? What's on your mind, everybody? It's a Thursday. There's things on your mind. You're thinking things. You're wondering things. You're pondering things. You've got questions. I possibly have answers. I'm not entirely sure. J-Dog looks like he was first. Michael Juo was second. Devron third. 469 fourth. Basapamon fourth. Oh, Basapamon didn't make it. But then Devron says first again. Basat says, haha. Devron lol. Basat, gotta be fast, then forward. And Devron says, a 6'2 Sierra Denali. Car people will know. LS, baby. Devron, Houston, we have a problemo. We have problemos day in, day out, all day long, mostly involving this fat turd right here. There it is, gonna cause problems. Don't you do it. You leave the magnets alone, man. You leave them alone. Okay. J-Dog, JWST, James Webb Space Telescope, just found a new moon for Uranus. Well, you know, everyone likes to moon Uranus. That's where the joy comes from. Why was the Starship Enterprise flying around the toilet? It was looking for Klingons around your anus. See, Devron says, you're kind of sort of famous, pal. Sometimes the niche internet celebrity in me gets out there. And every once in a while, people notice. And then I go back to obscurity again. Ziomagadu with Nub, happy birthday. Jamie3. Houston is the Power Packs man. Apparently, I mean, in the end, it's really just straight up slot machine gambling, right? So, yeah. J-Dog, 1984 sci-fi novel is becoming real life norms. I mean, yeah. I saw a video today of a woman who was being chased by ICE. U.S. citizen. U.S. citizen being chased by ICE. They just happened to chase her close to her home, and she was able to run onto her property. And all ICE run to the edge of the property like, oh, man, we can't harass that U.S. citizen. We need to do better as a nation. You know, one of my big things is people talk about make America great again. I'd like you to point to when we were truly great, right? Like, if you're a white person, like this guy, you always had it pretty good. Pretty much always had it pretty good. Like, no problems in my life were the result of my being a white dude with blue eyes. That's never been an issue here, period. If you were to ask, your average black American, when was America great? And they're all going to be like, never? Because that's kind of how it is. In order to be great, get this, in order to be great, you have to do great things. Right? So if we're not going to do great things, we're going to do shitty, awful things, such as support Russia over Ukraine, blow up Venezuela just to get their oil, murdering people in the Caribbean because we think they might be drug dealers, then letting go some of the biggest drug dealers who have ever walked the earth, pardoning them and sending them on their way, not paying attention to infrastructure, education, schools, cutting research budgets. Like, if we start doing bad things, then we aren't being great again. We're just being terrible, hoping to one day actually maybe be great at something. But okay. Scissor4 says, oh my god, are we famous? Houston, it's time to buy back in. Bill Coyne, soups and oatmeal, yum. Oh, because you had all your teeth pulled. I'm sure you have a lot of soup right now. A lot of soup, milkshakes, hopefully. Yeah. Good luck with your mouth, man. Are you gonna get implants or anything, and so that you can chew once more? Dude, your cold nose on my hand is just terrible. It is just, I try to move my mouse and it just wipes across your snotty little nose. Why do you have to sit like that? What is up with you? Ah, it's so wet. I know your wet nose means you're healthy, but don't keep just not on the back of my hand, please. Joe M3I9U. We moved past 84 into something newer, braver. It's almost kind of a world, a new world, a brave new world. If you haven't read your share of dystopian fiction, Brave New World is up there, along with 1984. Just dystopian fiction. Here's the one thing that dystopian fiction has missed out on, I think, and that no one saw coming, was just how dumb artificial intelligence was going to make the population. That's what I think is happening, is that AI is so stupid and people are using it so much to do all of their thinking for them. And I think we need a new dystopian novel where AI brain is a thing. WALL-E is probably the closest to that, because you just sit there in your chair getting fat, like watching videos over and over again. And that's probably pretty close to the dystopia that we'll be facing here. Polestar, yo. Nathan Tyler Scott, norovirus is sweeping through the country. Be careful, guys. It ripped through my family with a vengeance. It's strange, the older you get, how much more you value a nice solid poo. Be safe out there. Yeah, norovirus got me last week. I've been living with my friends and their little toddlers for 7 months while they're trying to figure out what they're going to do now they move back to the U.S. from Switzerland. And I managed to not get sick from those kids for 7 months. It just didn't happen. They didn't get me sick. And I was like, oh, I did it. The last day they were here, it was bad. So, hey, I lost 10 pounds. So, I mean, lose weight, get the highly contagious virus in your body. So, there you go. Took me a few days to recover. I was out for like 3 days. It was pretty rough. But yeah, it's sweeping through. Hand sanitizers don't kill it. You need straight up like soap. You gotta soap it up. You need lots of soap. Bleach will kill it. When you flush the toilet, it aerosolizes. So remember that if you're like going into a department store or grocery store or whatever and use the bathroom, that if somebody is having issues, they will end up in that bathroom and they will make it fun. That's why it spreads so quickly throughout cruise ships. Is you're in a confined environment, it's aerosolizing everywhere, and just everybody gets it. I don't know if you guys read about that Carnival cruise maybe 10 years ago now, that lost power and went adrift, and then like all 1,200 people got norovirus while the plumbing couldn't handle anything because there was no power, so there was like no water pressure, and so nothing flushed. And that just sounds like the biggest nightmare ever, and probably one of the reasons why I've never gone on a cruise. They don't really appeal to me, but just the thought of being adrift with 1,200 strangers and then everyone getting like a violently ill pukey virus. Whew. I don't have many fears in life, but that might be one of them. Okay. So, 61% still say the top right now with 49 votes in here. There's more of you. There's 100 more of you that can vote right now. So basically, Kitty Cat, they want to be able to see you up against the backdrop of the other ad down here. So white ad on the bottom seems to be winning because they like you and your shenanigans. All right. Monkey's like, what about me? What about you, dude? Oh, shoot. Super chat. 2 super chats. Oh, my gosh. Juice Mammy says, Pulte. Yeah, about Pulte. Oh, monkey butt treat, too. We can do that. Julius is your savior. Yeah, Bill Pulte is now under congressional investigation for basically weaponizing his office to hunt down political opponents and try to slap them with crimes for lying on mortgage applications, basically claiming second homes as a first home to get sweet deals out of the banks. And so far, he's a swing and a miss because Letitia James today, they refused to indict Letitia James. Sounds like they're dropping cases against other people that he's accusing of this. And yeah, so Pulte may face prison time if a new administration comes in. I as a result of this. And this cat is really trying to get the chicken. He just is not strong enough. I mean, you're trying, buddy. You desperately want it so bad. You can try every day. I'll give you a chance. Every day. Come on. Come on. No? No? We tried. Now the cat spit for the dog. There we go. Happy monkey butt. Chris Taylor. Hi, Houston. Can you not eat the spam, please? Okay. That is $5 towards not eating the spam. 5? No. I still need to set up. Every day I do this. I think, oh, I need to set that Google Sheet. And then I don't. So now it's just a giant list on a piece of paper. I have no idea which way it's breaking. No or yes. It seems to be pretty even, Steven. And if you don't know, if you are new to the show, I don't know if anyone's new to the show, behind me on the counter there is a can of Spam. I received that can of Spam, I believe, for my 14th birthday, maybe my 15th birthday, which makes it between 29 to 30 years old. And it's been sitting in whatever room I'm in that entire time. And that can of Spam, if you send me $7,142.86 in super chats, I will eat that Spam. But people are also sending money so I don't eat it, which is taking off from the total that's being collected. So it's my infinite money glitch, and I will enjoy it. And then maybe someday someone will just throw like a $10,000 super chat in there, and I'll be forced to eat a 30-year-old can of Spam. So it's up to you. It's up to you, the viewers, whether I eat that can of Spam or not. I don't know. We'll see. And it's the reason why it's $7,142.86, 83 cents. I can't remember. It's somewhere in there. Is because YouTube takes 30% of a super chat. So $5,000 was what I was asked. Like, what would you take to eat that can of Spam? I said $5,000. And so there you go. All right. It's up to 64%. Like the black top. Okay. FLWR, that GameStop mention has got to be coincidence. I don't know. I mean, people talk about space and going to the moon and beyond and whatnot, and it is like, we can bring it up. I got it right here on ye old. Excuse me. That one. There we go. It's I got Buck the Bunny. It says lunar packs are sold out. It says Houston, have a problem. Hang tight. Restock sent to orbit. So, and then the first comment is G-Font saying episode 741 is the catalyst, which is tomorrow. Episode number 741 is tomorrow. I don't really have anything special planned for it other than wearing a different shiny shirt for y'all. So interesting. The name of my show happens to be in a GameStop Power Packs post. Weird. Maybe something will be announced during my show. I have no idea. Or not. It could just be complete coincidence. And that's a phrase that's been around since Apollo 13. And bam. Oh, mother. Brought Trump the nighttime one monkey. Brought the daytime one. Well, whoever had calls on second intro, you win. Yay. Right, buddy? Yeah. All right. Cold Dog says, deport Ryan Cohen. I hope he's reading this message. He is a foreigner in these lands. He's from Canada, from the Great White North. Citizen 54 Supreme Court has cleared the way for Texas to use its new congressional map that could help Republicans win 5 more U.S. House seats in 2026 midterm election, more like white supremacy court. The funny thing is that the way special elections are breaking right now, Texas may go blue as a result. Why are you putting your cold nose on me? What's everybody putting their cold noses on my hands today? She's like, more. I know there's more. So we've got districts that voted Trump by like 20 plus points that are electing Democrats in special elections right now. And so what Texas did is they turned a whole bunch of like 20 plus point districts into like 7 or 8 point districts. and that might result in Democrats winning those seats by 10 points or more. And so Texas may have diluted their Republican stronghold into more purple than they ever imagined, and there might be a bunch more Democrats in office as a result of it. So, because people are pissed, they are not happy with Congress right now. They're not happy with the president, and the midterm is definitely going to reflect the fact that the economy is not doing well for most people. That we're not happy about our actions overseas. Life is just not improving. Like, again, to be great, you have to do great things. And if people's lives just aren't doing that well right now, I come back up here. Okay. Again, not the. Then the election is going to reflect that. So MAGA's fracturing, that's for sure. And we'll see where it goes. Hot Pocket Rebel came across a video of you talking about the Bainbridge Island bad list and a place called Chicken Coop. Is it still around? I need to know more. Do you have any updates on the Chicken Coop? Can't actually talk about that because of the court cases. So, no. Chicken Coop doesn't exist anymore. It got torn down and turned into a bunch of townhomes. But yeah, bad stuff. How bizarre. Don't eat the spam, please. Why would you hurt yourself like that? I mean, just cook the hell out of it. And it's 900 million grams of fat at that point. How about Rebel? Did anyone ever get prosecuted? Sort of. The bad list resulted in one guy going to prison for life. So yeah. Polestar. More sage advice from LC talking about how CEOs are psychopaths. Is RC a psychopath? Or was it Larry reading his daily calendar fun facts again? Lol, 2,000 plus Reddit posts for his garbage. Larry Chang seems like a nice guy, but Larry Chang has permanent LinkedIn brain. Like, you read a LinkedIn post, you're like, oh, cool. That's basically every post he's ever made is LinkedIn brain. He made a post a little while ago about like a good CEO is responsive and answers questions and gives good forward guidance. I'm like, dude, you're on a board with a company of a guy who doesn't give any forward guidance and never answers anyone's questions. So is this just like a backhanded way of like, why do you keep putting your cold nose on me? Why is everyone putting their nose on me? Do I look like a tissue? Do I look like a tissue to you? Oh my gosh. Okay. Bill Coyne, Hot Pocket Rebel, close. I was persecuted by my ex. Polestar. And here I thought it was Marjorie Taylor Greene who was the pipe bomber. Did they release who the scapegoat is for it? Lol. That was the thought, is that it was Marjorie Taylor Greene and it's a woman based on the gait of the walk. Although I think the people doing the math of how tall the person is would be taller than Marjorie Taylor Greene, even though the shoes look the same. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's short. She's like 5'1" or 5'2". And the pipe bomb person was probably between 5'6" and 5'8". This is, if you don't know, someone put pipe bombs around DC the night before January 6th. They didn't go off. They were just like placed places but never lit or anything. I don't really know what they're hoping to accomplish other than just be like, I can put pipe bombs in places. And there is folks that say they know who it is, but they can't talk about it because of the investigation. But no one's ever truly been like fingered for that one. So, Hazel Allen, hi Houston. You said the other day that BPYQ bonds are being paid or moved or something like that. If they're being dealt with, aren't the shareholders next in line? Thank you. Well, we don't know what's happening with the bonds. The BPYQ bonds, the corporate bonds from the bankrupt version of Bed Bath & Beyond were in default. They've been in default since 2023, April 2023, when they went into bankruptcy. Suddenly, yesterday, they are no longer in default. And so the speculation is that either new bonds will be issued, and some of that speculation is that the current version of Bed Bath & Beyond that came out of Overstock.com, that version will assume the role of paying that debt, and so they're going to be issued as new bonds. Another speculation is that there'll be a cash payout, which I don't know if that's a lot of money. I don't know if anyone wants to put a cash payout towards that. I think the most likely thing is that there'll probably be equity distribution to those bondholders, and they'll receive shares in lieu of what they're owed on the bonds. Something to the tune of like 30 shares per 1,000 in whatever stock happens to be coming out of that. And that's how they're not in default anymore, is that there's some sort of waterfall coming, but we don't know what version it's going to be. Okay. And Joe M3I9U, can we trade the BBYQ bonds for BBQ ribs? It all depends on how you barter, I guess. Nathan Tyler Scott met a guy from Bainbridge Island the other day, and I was like, "Whoa, well, let's do a podcast who lives there." And he looked at me like I was lying. Wish I could remember his name. If they're from Bainbridge, there's a good chance I know them, or they know me, or I'd recognize their face. Bummer. Tadalus. Good recent World War II movie, 1917, All Quiet on the Western Front. Oh yeah, 1917. Well, what was World War One, and All Quiet on the Western Front. Both those are World War One, but they're very good movies. 1917 was awesome because it was filmed as like one take. I think there's actually 2 cuts that they make in the movie that are like, things go dark and then come back up type thing. All Quiet on the Western Front was really good. I do think the 1929 version of All Quiet on the Western Front is better. It's one of the best movies ever made. I watched it when I was, I don't know, high school maybe? It was on late at night on PBS. And I was like, oh, we'll see this. And it's an early talkie, people talking in films. It's in German, so you have to do the subtitles. And in the newer version of All Quiet on the Western Front, they go through the uniform, like the uniform, someone dies, take the uniform off, they send it, gets stitched back up and given to a new soldier, and it just cycles through the uniforms. In the original movie version of All Quiet on the Western Front, they do it with boots. So there's dead soldier, one soldier's boots are blowing out, he takes off dead soldier's boots, puts them on, he's all happy, and then he dies, and someone takes his boots. And you watch these boots go through like dozens of soldiers throughout the war. I've never read the book. I would like to read the book. I've never read the book. I should probably read that. But the message of All Quiet on the Western Front, I think the most important message in that movie was war is horrific, and that you shouldn't do it if you got the choice. And there's a very poignant part that they missed out on in the new version, which is the main character's on leave, and he goes back to like his hometown. He's sitting in a bar, a pub, and he's totally shell shocked, and he's just like trying to return to society and like have a beer and be normal. And he's listening to these older gentlemen in this town talk about what needs to happen with the war, what they need to do. We need to get more soldiers over here and do this and do that. And they're doing like the whole like armchair quarterback thing. And the soldier like loses his fucking shit. And he's like, "You don't know what the hell's going out there. Shut the hell up. It is a nightmare." And I think that was one of the more poignant parts of that film was, taking the juxtaposition of those who are safe at home, Monday morning quarterbacking everything, and those who are in the shit. And like adding to that juxtaposition, the going from hell to returning to normal society, which a lot has been talked about more since Vietnam than other wars, especially the Gulf Wars, like returning soldiers. And I think those parts were really poignant about the original All Quiet on the Western Front. When I taught at the Art Institute, 30% of our students were GI Bill. And it was a lot. And a lot of the students literally like got back from a tour of duty, and 3 days later were like in my classroom. I had students who had not gone through deprogramming. They'd not been on base for a few weeks to like, re-enter society. They were just literally like, they flew in from Bagram. They landed at Fort Bragg. They're told to pack their shit and given a bus ticket back home to Texas, right? And they just like got off the bus and they're like, "Well, I got to fly to Seattle now for school," and they end up in my classroom. and their brains were not ready for society. They were not ready for a big metropolitan city. They were not ready for school. And I remember one student I had, he had literally just gotten out of the Navy. I don't know what he did in the Navy, but he had just gotten out, probably days or weeks since he had gotten out. And we had just moved to, you need to lay off your hoo-ha, buddy. They had just gotten to that quarter where they started forcing us to do all the math classes on the computer. And I hate, oh my God, I hate having to do it. Just let me teach math class. The students understand when I teach them, not when the computer does it. Monkey butt, quit licking your butthole. The first quiz we had, you know, it's a little 10-question quiz. You know, I think it was still teaching 4 classes at the time. So the first class comes through and they do the quiz and it comes in and they all have like F's. I'm like, what the hell? Why do I have F's? And I look at it and the computer's wrong. So in some of the questions, because this is like kind of like understanding, do you have basic understanding of arithmetic? It would say like, what's 9 squared? You answer 81. And they'll ask you what's negative 8 squared? And you'll answer positive 64. And people were doing that, answering positive 64. And then the computer would grade it. And what happens was the one that said, what is negative 8 squared? The computer wanted negative 64 as an answer. And I was like, no, the computer is wrong. So I went through and explained to everybody, you know, in the following classes. I'm like, look, you're going to do this quiz. When you finish, don't believe your grade because the computer is stupid. I am smarter than the computer. You are smarter than the computer. You are going to get the correct answer. The computer's going to tell you wrong, right? Just chill out. I'll go through and I'll fix every single one of these stupid things and give you the grade you're supposed to have. And I think this guy, you know, it's the first time he'd been in school in years. He'd been in the Navy for I don't know how long. I don't know what he was doing, if he was in the shit or whatever, but he was not mentally prepared to be in that classroom. And I don't think he was listening to me. I think he was just so nervous about his first quiz in so long. And, you know, he does the quiz, does the 10 questions and sends it and it comes up F and he loses his goddamn mind. Like starts screaming just gibberish, and he had picked up the computer and he was about to spike it on the ground. And thank God, like I didn't think I just was like, sit down, sailor. And he was just like, put the computer down, sat down. And then a couple other veterans in the classroom, like, we'll take him outside and we'll talk to him. And so they took him out and they like calmed him down. I went out there and explained to him like, hey man, you didn't do bad on the quiz. You actually got a B. You know, the computer just graded wrong. And we got him to calm down. And that led me to have to get to school. So I started the school right as about the time private equity guys were doing the horrible cuts. So the school used to have like psychologists on staff. And then they fired the psychologists, and then they gave everybody who needed it this like business card that was like, hey, if you're having problems, call this phone number. And so I realized that there wasn't help, and we got so many veterans, and so many of them had been in just horrible stuff. That I discovered Vet Corps. It's kind of like AmeriCorps, but for veterans. And so I talked to one of my students, and we got Vet Corps set up at the school. And so we cleared out a classroom and became like the veterans room, and we set it up so that they could like use computers and never have to have their back to the door and whatnot. And just, you know, because always looking for snipers or whatever. And so got this veteran who he already had a previous college degree and was coming back with a GI Bill for design or something. And so we sort of set it up so that these veterans could actually like help each other, because there was no other, like they were just sent out to drown basically with no help from the school, no help from anybody, and then expected to all of a sudden like get a college degree. And around that same time, I had another student. He was from Texas, and he was a Marine. He'd been a Marine for 25 years, and he'd done something ridiculous, like 7 tours between Iraq and Afghanistan, and even the first Gulf War. And his dad had been a Marine in Nam, and he one day stayed after class and we're just chit chatting, and we were talking about the Vet Corps and whatnot, and he told me he got back from a tour, I think it was in Iraq, where like literally he's like IEDs are exploding and stuff, and they get to base and they're like, all right, tour's over. Hop on the plane and head home. And he flies back. And then like a day later, he's at his dad's house. And his dad just says, keep your bag, get in the truck. Gets in the truck, and his dad just like drives him off into Texas hill country and on top of a mountain and just sets up a camp. And just like, they just sit there and like cook food and sit, cook food and sit, and sleep and cook food. And he's like, what the hell are we doing out here? And he's like, well, you're not ready yet. And he's like, not ready for what? He's like, life. We're just going to sit here until you're ready. And they sat there, and he said they sat there for like a month, just sitting in chairs, looking at the sunset, eating food, every once in a while slipping into a town, getting supplies, going back up the hill, camping. And he said after about a month, all of a sudden something just broke in his brain, and he just cried. He cried for like 12 hours and couldn't stop. It was like snot and tears and everything. And his dad didn't say a word. His dad just like, all right, you're ready. And they're like, you can go be a human being again. you got it out of your system. We're good to go. And he was telling me like he didn't realize how broken he was until he had that still and quiet for a month. And then all of a sudden it just broke and that circuit popped, and he all of a sudden was like, oh, this was my dad's way of deprogramming me from the situation. So it's very profound for me, like as someone who hasn't served, but having to deal with a lot of folks who have, just exactly what it is they went through. A lot of people don't have the support system or the knowledge or innate ability to sort of remove themselves from a situation and analyze what went on. And then their subconscious is doing a lot of work that it's not trained to do to try and work through all this stuff. And I can think of my friend Will. He's the one that was awarded the Medal of Honor in 2013. And, he started showing up in a bar I was working in during my first bout of grad school. And he was a nice guy. He'd sit and we'd talk about skiing. And then all of a sudden we're going skiing together on the weekends. And it seems kind of like he's retired or he comes from money. I couldn't quite tell. But he paid for everything with the USAA card. So I'm wondering like, okay, maybe he's military. But if you asked him like, hey, Will, what do you do for a living? He'd just say, oh, I sell drugs to middle schoolers, or some joke like that. People are like, oh, ha, 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 disarming. And I remember one day, he's sitting in the bar and he had his laptop open and he's staring at Google Earth. I'm like, oh, what you looking at? He's like, oh, I'm just like scanning, mountain ranges and just imagining where would be like cool places to have ski resorts. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, where's this one? It's like, oh, it's just some valley in Afghanistan. And I'm like, neat. I'm looking at the valley. I'm like, yeah, that actually make a great place for a ski resort. He's like, I know, right? Like, it's got these peaks here and this great sized valley and a river and all this stuff. And this is like 2011, maybe. We've been hanging out for a couple of years at this point. And, every weekend we're going skiing. He's coming over and barbecuing. I introduced him to the lady that would become his wife. And, he was just a grounded dude. He just didn't want to talk about his past. I was like, cool. Maybe it was special operations. Maybe it was CIA. I'm not going to press it. He's hanging out with me because I don't ask him questions. We just go skiing and have a good time. And then I show up to work teaching at the college in 2013, and I like log in. And one of the first things I do when I get to work, I just start like, let's read the news. And I open up SeattleTimes.com, and there's Will's face with Obama. And Obama's putting the Medal of Honor on him. I'm like, motherfucker. Like, I've been reading all these articles about Captain William Swenson, about what he's going through and being awarded. They just never showed a picture of him. So it never clicked that that's who they were talking about. It's my buddy, William Swenson, who is this. And whatever. So, I don't know. Will went through hell when during the action specifically that he was awarded the Medal of Honor for. Like, absolute nightmare. I mean, it was him. There was a joint task force. So it was Air Force, Marines, Army, Navy, with a group, I think, 88 or so Afghan soldiers that had been trained, and they were taking them to this village that no one had contact with in like a decade. And so they're like, hey, we're going to go up there. We're going to let them know the government's here. And then the village is like, die. And they start hitting them because the village is shaped, the valley is shaped like a U. They start hitting them from all directions and just picking off all these soldiers. And and Will manages to rescue like dozens of people and get them the medevac helicopters and everything. And matter of fact, his sergeant was hit in the neck, and Will patches him best he can. Goes out to the middle of this field and lays down with a giant orange landing pad on him to let the helicopter know where to land. Just a big giant target in the middle of this like kill zone of 3 different directions. Helicopter lands, and it's the only time so far in history there's video footage of a heroic act happening for where someone was awarded the Medal of Honor, and he puts his sergeant on the helicopter and gives him a kiss on the forehead, and he's like, I'll be there soon. And it flies off, and his sergeant sadly passed away. But Will went through hell. Like he was hit during that thing, still managed to rescue a bunch of people. And he took that time, those years we went skiing, and when he was looking at that computer screen of that valley in Afghanistan, I didn't realize it was the valley until the Medal of Honor thing happened. But he was smart. He's an incredibly intelligent human being, absolute brilliant human being. But he had the support system of his family and friends, and he had people like me who just didn't bring up anything. Just like, hey, we like skiing, let's go skiing, and then come barbecue at my house and I'll make a plum pie or whatever. And but he also had this ability where he was able to sort of remove himself mentally as like an outside, almost unbiased observer, and then go through what he went through and process it that way. And a lot of folks never had this, right? They don't grow up in a healthy environment where they're either taught how to work through these things, given the skills to work through the stuff, process these things, have the opportunity to like have that character growth. I think of another guy I met who's a friend of a friend, and when he graduated high school and turned 18, his parents were like, "Get out! You're 18, get the hell out!" And they didn't want him around. And so, if you're going to be faced with homelessness at 18, you got no prospects for school, you join the military. So he joined the Marines, and his job was to be on a gun on a Humvee, and if anyone came near their convoy, which I think was probably ferrying oil or something, he had to shoot them. Didn't matter if it was dogs, kids, potential threats. If they were near, just go. And he just basically probably wholesale murdered people. And then all of a sudden, after 4 years, he's out. And he's like, "Hey, Mom, can I come home for a bit?" "Hell no! I kicked you out of this house when you're 18, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, no job prospects, no treatment for what he's done in that time, and doesn't have the ability to process any of this stuff. And I know we're going off a big tangent here, just talking about All Quiet on the Western Front. But I guess the thing is, we need to do better as a society. That we will train these people to do horrible things, and then we have to trust that these folks, oftentimes on the bottom rung of society, and that's why they're enlisting into the armed services, will have the skills to re-enter society normally. No, that's why like 1 in 4 homeless are veterans, because they didn't properly get deprogrammed and they weren't properly given skills to enter the workforce after they were in the military. And I know that's kind of a long tangent, but there we go. All right. I'm going to end the poll because it says 60% want to keep it on top. So on top it is. Yay. All right. Okay, super chats while I was yik-yakking. Got super chat from Dmitry Maximoff. "Come on, Houston. Even in this frigid cold winter, we don't get to see them NIPS? Them nips? Oh. $5 to open that window. No. You open that window, that cost me like $30 in heating oil. So you're going to have to just get used to just imagining them. They're right there for you. Basap Aman, when are we planning the yearly Problemo meetup? No spam. So $5 for no spam. 5 for no. Well, we've never done a Problemo meetup. I always wanted to like get a win before we do a meetup. Like going to that thing in Miami with Bill Pulte, who's now under investigation by Congress, when we hadn't actually had a win yet, and Bed Bath & Beyond felt kind of premature and weird. I don't know. Like, I feel like we should have a win before we do some sort of problemo meetup. I don't know. What do you guys think? Put another poll up there. And where will we do it? That could house all 23,000 of you. I don't know. There's only 200 of you watching right now, but I don't know. Maybe we bring it to the Euros or something. And Dmitry Maximov, don't know if my chats aren't coming through. 5 more to open that window. The window is not opening. No. It's cold, miserable. Juice Mammy, Southcom just released video of another speedboat blow up. 4 killed today. Alcoholic Secretary of War gone rogue. He's just doubling down on the war crimes at this point. Like, he's been told it's a crime, and he's like, "Fuck you." This is a power play to show if he can get through it. The thing is about war crimes is that the president doesn't have the power to pardon war criminals if they're convicted through the Universal Code of Military Justice. So, oops. Attaining oneness. So SCOTUS priests Texas gerrymander. I think SCOTUS ruled Texas gerrymander can go forward. Absolutely hope that it backfires, becomes a dummy-mander for them. Latino's been swinging back and forth the Dems. Also hope your calls print rock god. I hope they do too. It'd be kind of fun if they do. I mean, if it touches $24 tomorrow, which I don't think it will. Hey, new war rig on the horizon with that one. All I need for it to do is touch $23.20 tomorrow, and I double my money, and I'm happy. And I'll turn $70 into like $3,200. So that'd be good play. And if early it looks like it's going to not get close to that, I'll get out and I'll just take whatever I get. So that's the gamble. That's the gamble with those 0-day options. They're cheap, and if something happens, woo! And if it doesn't, you're fucked. So there we go. And Pasapaman, but our community is the win. It's true. Our community is the win. It's not the end results, the friends you made along the way. And we have a lot of you weirdos in here, including the lurkers. I would love for the lurkers to show up to one of these things if we do have some sort of meetup of, we call you problemos? I'm not sure what the viewership would be called. The birthday wishers, the second intros, the fat cat fans, right? Oh yeah. Ho, ho, ho. Okay. Where's my spot? As the meta guy from Beam Down. That was Tadalus getting me off on the track there. Okay. Nathan Tyler Scott. You can find him and educate him on how rain happens. Oh, the Bainbridge guy? Yes. The sun comes out. The air gets warm. Warm air rises, where it then cools, condenses, forms rain clouds, and it rains. That's why it rains. EE1017H, will you share the post that was shared by GameStop with us, please? It's in the description. The link is in the description, and I think I showed it to you guys here a moment ago when I did my double intro. And Nate Scott, what GameStop tweet to you? They tweeted Houston with a problem. That's what they did. Cameron Mirza, Costco suing Trump. Costco's suing Trump, and I think they're going to be successful. It's not just Costco now. Now it's like Revlon and Bumblebee Tuna and like all sorts of companies that import stuff are suing, and I think they'll win. I mean, it's pretty clear, Article 1 of the Constitution, that levying tariffs is a congressional power and not a presidential power. And my guess is that they'll win, and that the government is now going to find, a couple $100 billion and then send it all back to everybody who paid those tariffs. So, Kyle Cooper, 741, an important number for some people. I respect you sold your shares, but don't shit on your fans who still hold. I love you forever, but don't give in to your reptile brain. We aren't a different tribe. I mean, 741, no one knows what it actually means. That's why I said it's an important number for some people. it's a meme at this point. It's an inside joke that no one actually understands where it came from or what it means, but people think it's some sort of magical number, and that's why it is important for some people. MS QD6PC Houston. Suppose every shareholder sells Tesla. What happens to Musk? He blows away in the wind. It will probably happen. Internationally, Tesla sales are down like 47%, somewhere around there. In China, there's like no growth. BYD is kicking the crap out of Tesla. The designs are cooler looking, the price point's cheaper, and it's a Chinese company. And in Europe, Norway still buys a lot of Teslas for some reason, but everyone else is like, I'm out. And even in the US, Tesla sales are pretty flat. The designs are really boring now. They're not like 10 years ago, they were like cutting edge and new, but they haven't been updated at all. And now you got these legacy companies producing better EVs that have longer range and better amenities and cooler looking and made with better products and have a higher finish than Teslas do. And the customer satisfaction ratings are higher. So I think if a company comes out with a Nissan Leaf type electric car, don't care about screens, don't care about smart apparatuses, just a car that you get in, you drive places, and it gets, decent mileage, and it's at a low price point because you don't have all the bells and whistles, I think that company will destroy. Absolutely. Anyone who can sell cars below $20,000 new at this point, they'll kill it. Absolutely kill it. And so I think, so far it appears that they're moving to like higher and higher price points because people don't have the money for those mid-range cars, but people do at the upper range. And now they're like, well, we can just get them into a 10-year loan for their car at $1,000 a month, and that's how we'll do it. And now people have to figure out how to like balance their mortgage with their car payment. It's All right. Aaron Saltine, Falcon. So look up ticker symbol SGBX. Everyone believes it's the next SMX stock ticker that went up to 150 high from $1 this week. GBX has 400,000 share float with FINRA saying 900,000 share short. Oh, you mentioned GBX, SGBX last week. And yeah, it's crazy how much short there is for how many shares there actually are. Like, we looked at Fintel, and it's like 900,000 shares short. Short interest 15%. It's like, but they only have 400,000 shares, so that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, interesting. Does seem like a squeeze contender there, Aaron. And yeah, Aaron Salentine, 17% short interest is wrong. That seems very wrong, doesn't it? Joe, someone should sue Costco for driving the hot dog carts out of business through price dumping. I don't know how many hot dog carts there are close to the big parking lots of Costco's at this point. But there's something about a street dog. There's something romantic about getting a street dog that getting a Costco dog doesn't quite represent. EE1017H. What do you know about Ocean Shores, Washington? My mom is thinking about moving out there. Oh, here we go. Ocean Shores. I do gold mining in Ocean Shores in the wintertime. Boom. All right, turn off the Chrome. Turn on the Google Earth. Bam. Don't show again. Okay, so Ocean Shores is a little sandspit peninsula on the coast of Washington. There's 3 big sandspit peninsulas. There's Long Beach, which claims to be the longest uninterrupted sand beach in the entire world at 26 miles or something. There's Westport, which is where the surfing is. So Westport gets a lot of good waves from the west and south, and a lot of good breaks here. And then there's Ocean Shores. Ocean Shores is sort of like a retirement community. They have a lot of older people live here. The houses actually are fairly inexpensive for being in Washington State. And you can kind of see it's a couple hour drive from Seattle, so it's maybe 2.5 hours to get to Ocean Shores from Seattle, maybe 3 hours. And you basically drive down, go through Olympia, and head out. I go from Bainbridge, so I go through this part of the county and then to Ocean Shores to go gold mining. It takes about 2.5, 3 hours to get out there. The homes are fairly cheap. You get access to the calmer waters of Grace Harbor and then the gnarly ocean waves out here. I usually hit up gold mining near Oyahut in Ocean City State Park, or I go a little further north to Copalis, which is Ocean Grove, Copalis Beach up here. Because as long as fresh water is coming out from one of the streams, then I can classify my material pretty easily. But it's seems to be a pretty decent place to live. Much more lively in the summertime when the tourists are there and everyone's using the beach and whatnot. You can drive on the beach. The beach is technically a state highway, so you can drive on the beach here. And you just can't be a dick. A few years ago, my friend Nick, he's a birder. He's my best friend. He's a birder. He loves going out looking birds. I don't give a shit about birds. Don't care one way or the other. Bird's a bird, whatever. You know my bird classification system. You got 6 birds. You've got chickens, not chickens, crows, not crows, and you got seagulls, not seagulls, and that's it. Those are your 6 classifications of birds. All birds fall under one of those categories. And but he really wanted to go out to the beach and see some sort of shorebird that was showing up, and so we drove out there and got some of his friends in the car, and we're sitting in this like steaming up Subaru out back looking for birds and having a nice time. It's just kind of gray and quiet. We're the only people on the beach in the car, and then this giant truck shows up playing really loud music and scares all the birds away, and it really pisses Nick off. And so we had like this thing of like Chips Ahoy cookies, and he just crunches it all into powder. He gets out and just dumps all the cookies into the back of this truck. And I swear I watched the suspension on this truck drop as like 1,000 birds landed on this guy's truck to go eat all his cookie bits. It was really funny. But anyway, Ocean Shores, it's got a little bit of a town. It's not much. And then a lot of houses. There's a couple of more businesses in a couple of spots like yacht clubs and whatnot. But there isn't too much business because it's just a lot of vacation homes and then retirees. It's a lot of like VRBO type stuff. I've thought about in years past, like maybe just taking a winter and seeing if there's a house sitting job I can do, and then I can just spend every day beach mining. Because what you're looking for when you're beach mining is black sand, and you can see a little bit. Some of the sand is wet, so it's hard to kind of tell where the black sand is, but you can see a little bit. Like here's some bands of black sand here, and that black sand is the magnetite. So in the wintertime, big waves come in and wash away all the light quartz sand and leave behind the heavier sands, the magnetites. And so what you want to do is you want to scoop up those magnetites, and there'll be like lots of flower gold and platinum and even micro diamonds and little micro sapphires and rubies. And so you'll dig those out and classify them. And on good days, you can do up to an ounce of gold on a good day. Because you got to do it during low tide, daylight, and when it's not storming, because a storm surge will wipe out your low tide. So you only get a couple of days a year, really, if you're living out where I am, to get to the coast and to mine the beach sand to get gold. So so you really have to like shovel as much as you can. The problem is if you're out there by yourself and you're shoveling, there's old people who walk up and down the beach. That's their retirement. They just walk up and down the beach and they strike up conversations with people because their kids don't talk to them anymore and they're really bored. And they're like, hey, what you doing there? And you have to stop shoveling. Like, oh, I'm mining for gold. And they want to tell you about how their grandfather was a gold miner. And then you want to tell them that, yes, your grandfather's a gold miner and your grandmother worked in a brothel, but you don't want to talk about that. And so usually when I do it now, I bring a second person. And that way, if someone stops to talk to me, the second person keeps shoveling and I can entertain the old guy. And it keeps me from having to shovel. So it's good times. But yeah, it's all right place to be. It's really gray. It's not super hot in the summertime, but it's not super cold in the wintertime. You will see impressive storms come through. We're talking like 30-foot plus waves, just monsters. Undertow can be really gnarly out here. These can be really big waves even in the summertime. And you're kind of out there. You also have to watch out for when the subduction zone here finally cracks and we get a big earthquake. You're going to get a 30 to 100 foot tsunami. And so you're gonna, if you live out here, you want to know where the tsunami safe buildings are. So a lot of times they're building schools. They build the gymnasiums to withstand tsunamis. So you want to know where the school is, so you can climb on top of the gymnasium with everybody else. They're building certain towers in like Westport and Long Beach and Ocean Shores for that. Or you want to live close enough because the hills start right out here. So you just get into a hill and you're up here. You're at 50, 60 feet above 100 feet above sea level. You're probably going to be doing okay. But you may only have minutes to get out there because that's not very far. This wave is traveling 500 miles an hour and starting right here, 40 miles offshore. So you might only have minutes before that thing hits. So that's what you got to watch out for in Ocean Shores. But price point wise for houses, it's not that bad. If we go, minimize you, go back to the Chrome, and we go say to Zillow. Come on, why are you not? Oh my gosh. Why not? Oh, cool. It's now it says Houston with a problem. Hang tight. Restock sent. Chrome not responding. Ah! All right. Well, I was gonna go to Zillow, but now it's not at all working. So we'll just meh. And we pretend like we went to Zillow and we looked at the prices. We went, oh, those aren't that bad. Plus, you can rent them out for half the year. Yeah. Oh shoot! It's time for me to get going. Everybody, I want to thank you so much. I think I got to all the super chats. Yes, got super chat, got all that. Okay, got all that today. I will see you guys tomorrow for episode number 741. Probably be an evening show. I'm gonna take Monkey Butt. And we're gonna go into town and get snacks and treats and visit with some people. Maybe get some teriyaki. So probably an after dark show tomorrow. And I'll see you guys for that. Sound cool? Sound cool, Monkey? Yeah. All right. Well, now we're going to do the actual after dark because it's dark. Shiny, 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 shiny.